Hi, I'm Kirby Allison, and welcome to Singapore for our first ever Singapore Super Trunk Show, our latest global gathering celebrating everything we love about quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. What began as a small trunk show in London has grown into something truly global. Today, we're bringing together an extraordinary group of over 20 artisans from around the world. From shoemakers, tailors, and other clothing brands, the Super Trunk Show has grown to become so much more than just a gathering of the world's best shoemakers. So join me as we step inside the first ever annual Singapore Super Trunk Show. The Singapore Super Trunk Show is more than an exhibition, it is an experience. With over 20 small artisans from around the world here today showcasing their incredible goods, and with over 1,200 attendees from around the region expected to attend, it's a rare opportunity for those of us who care deeply about timeless style and enduring craftsmanship to come together, learn from one another, and immerse ourselves firsthand in the finest work in the world being produced today. In addition, the event hosts the Asian Shoeshine Championships, which sees 3 shoe shiners from the region pit themselves against one another to see who can produce the best mirror shine in just 20 minutes. And of course, none of this would be possible without our sponsors. So a special thank you to our platinum sponsors, Saphir, Medal d'Or, and Bridlen Shoes, and gold sponsors, CNES and Sanyo Yamacho, along with all of our silver sponsors. Without them, these fantastic events would be impossible. So without further delay, join me as we explore the world of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition here at the Singapore Super Trunk Show. So I'm here right now with one of our platinum sponsors for the Singapore Super Trunk Show, Saphir Medal d'Or, and I'm joined by Alan Lee of Straits Establishment, distributor for Saphir in Singapore and Malaysia. Of course, at the center of this entire industry really stands Saphir Medal d'Or, the shoe polish that connects us all. And Alan, you've been representing Saphir for quite some time here in this area, in this region, and then of course here at the Super Trunk Show. So talk to me a little bit about Saphir. I mean, I think it's interesting as we've been traveling the world through the different trunk shows to see, of course, the universal popularity of Saphir, but in the Asian region specifically, it's really a brand, that's been, growing in popularity massively.
Yeah. So I think for us, we have been distributing Saphir for the last decade or so, and throughout the course of these 10 years, we have seen a growing popularity in terms of the demand, in terms of people who are really interested in taking care of their leather shoes and accessories. So we are so happy to be able to play a part in growing this community, of like-minded individuals, and of course artisans as well, whether it's shoe shiners like Mason and Smith and Ash, etc. And we hope to continue to play this pivotal role to support, to harness and to grow this community for the love of quality shoes and for the love of quality shoe cares like Saphir.
Is there anything that you think is particular or unique to the Asian region when compared to maybe the United States or Europe?
So I think for Asians, right, we have this kind of like a mentality to continuously to improve. And I think this is also seen in the makers across Asia, shoe shiners and shoemakers alike. They have this spirit of wanting to always to continue to improve the technique, the finishing process in terms of getting the best equipment available. And I think this has shown in terms of the result of what we have seen in the sales of Saphir.
But one of the other things that I find quite unique to Asia is the fact that it's not just a consumer-driven, kind of interest, right? I mean, here in Singapore, you have a lot of shoe care kind of boutiques that specialize just in shoe care and shoe shining, shoe repair, and really at a much higher level than what you would find maybe on average in other regions around the world. Why do you think that is?
I think it also has to boil down to this. Like earlier that I've mentioned, this mentality of Asians having this spirit to want to improve and to improve on the technique and the processes. So I think it kind of like started off in Japan. And I think slowly this kind of the whole concept of a shoe shine bar and an artisanal studio has kind of like sprout across Southeast Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand. We do see kind of like a new people coming up with their own interpretation of a shoe shine bar. And I think that is in itself quite fantastic, and something that we can all aspire to believe.
What role do you think a Saphir Medal d'Or plays? I mean, because of course it is an incredibly global brand that can be found all over the world. But in each of those regions, I mean, Saphir really continues to come out on top as the leader. What is it about Saphir or about the product that you think, produces that time and time again?
So we don't talk about different prices and everything, but pound for pound, dollar for dollar, Saphir's across all the product range delivers the best results consistently every single time. And that is what I think Saphir is most renowned for.
And why is that important for someone that is investing in quality footwear?
So I think because when you invest in high quality, welted footwear especially, with quality care and of course with the necessary skill, you're able to kind of extend the lifespan of your shoes. And that would help ensure that your footwear, your bags and accessories are well taken care of. I think that is also very important as part of the larger scheme of leather and footwear care.
Of course, here at the Super Trunk Shows, we see the different shoe shine workshops, and we see, of course, the shoe shine competition, which is really in many ways kind of articulating shoe shining at the highest level. But does it have to be complex, or is it something that you think that really anyone without training can pick up some Saphir shoe polish and really enjoy beginning to use it?
So, on a very basic level, one can actually just pick up several basic products and start to do polishing. But of course, to achieve the finesse and the result at that high level, it requires a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error, and that is something that is very tactile. It requires for you to really get your hands dirty and to go down to polishing, some elbow grease and stuff like that.
So for someone that is maybe buying their first pair of high quality leather dress shoes, which products would you recommend that they get started with for shoe care?
Okay. So important thing for basic shoe care, I would recommend essentially a dusting brush, preferably horsehair. And of course, the very first product, it's always a shoe cream. For you to cover the scarf to nourish the leather. And then before that, break in your shoe. So let the shoe mold to your feet. Let the leather soften up first. And after about a month or so, then we can talk about some minor nourishment to enhance the quality and the appearance of the leather.
But for that first shoe cream, would you recommend something like a pigmented cream polish or something like the Saphir Renovator?
I would always recommend like a pigmented cream polish as the first product. The Renovator, the cream can come later where the leather is a bit drier when the shoe is a bit more worn and it requires deeper, stronger hydration.
And then for someone that's looking maybe to experiment with some of the more specific or advanced products, beyond just basic shoe care, where do you recommend that people then go to next?
So in terms of like the products, you mean? So I think for people who, like for advanced user, they want to kind of experiment with different things. They can try the plum-based cleaner. Saphir has a very wonderful Medal d'Or plum-based cleaner. It is not as popular as the Renomat because it has a very interesting odor, but it's strong, efficient, and I would highly recommend that. The second product is the Saphir Edge Hue Dressing. So that is a wax-based paint ink that you can apply on the edge of the heel. I think that is also an often overlooked product that we can use to easily cover up the scarf on our heel and sew edges.
So Alan, here in Asia, I mean Singapore specifically and Malaysia, for someone that's looking to purchase Saphir Medal d'Or shoe polish, how do they go about finding that and getting it?
So I think you can always purchase Saphir physically through one of our retailers, whether in Singapore or across the country in Kuala Lumpur. But the easiest and the fastest way is to really shop online. So Saphir can be readily found in online platforms such as Shopee, and Lazada, but it's hugely popular in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And all our products that we distribute, it's readily available online.
Yeah.
And we offer free shipping.
Yeah, Alan. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for everything that you do, advocating for Saphir and indulging those of us who love leather dress shoes and the best shoe care in the world. And of course, thank you for your support here in Singapore at the Singapore Super Trunk Show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm here with another one of our platinum sponsors, and of course, no stranger to the Super Trunk Show series. Mohamed, thank you so much, of course, of Bridlen Shoes, and for all the support of Super Trunk Show and really following us around the world, first in London, then in New York, and now in Singapore. So thank you so much for being here, and of course, all of your support, and continuing to indulge those who love fine quality footwear with some of the best there is.
Thank you very much, Kirby, for coming to our part of the world. You're not going to get rid of us that easy.
No.
I'm glad you finally made it to Singapore. We've been speaking about the Asian edition for a couple of years now.
We have been.
So I'm very happy to see you guys and support this event in Singapore this time
And
around.
of course, India just next door. I mean, Singapore really is a close neighbor. Is it a big market for you, though? Have you been traveling here already?
Yes, so it's our first Super Trunk Show in Singapore, but it's not our first time as Bridlen in Singapore itself, because we've been with our partner store Seamless Bespoke for the last 3 years.
Okay.
And this year we brought around a new collection to reflect our more recent lasts and styles. And more to the point, the last couple of years we've understood the Singapore market better in terms of, let's say, lasts, the weather conditions and what probably works better here, similar to India.
Okay.
So we brought out things like an unlined collection in full Goodyear welted construction, and that's a bit unique in the Goodyear world because typically it tends to be a bit more, let's say, stiffer, the shoes. But if I can grab one shoe here, this is unlined, Goodyear welted.
Rubber sole, fantastic.
Rubber sole, and still got that old school way of shoemaking, which with 5 millimeters of thick insole, channeled, and still get the flexibility. So that's coming from our sort of understanding of the Singapore market and, let's say, a little bit more of the tropical market, as it were.
Because, Bridlen, I mean, although you're based in India, you're really shipping all over the world. I know you've got quite a loyal following in the United States, but apparently all throughout even Asia.
That's correct. We see people traveling from other parts of the region sometimes for our trunk shows, and I do 2 of those in a year. So we did one just yesterday before the Super Trunk Show, and we see a lot of interest for the unlined construction, but more recently, as you might know, style-wise, we are in the space of classics, but the Spectators is making a bit of a comeback. Here you see people wearing more lighter suits as well. So Spectators lends well to that sort of, even a double-breasted with a linen suit seems to lend well for a spectator. So this is coming back, not particularly in Singapore or in Asia, but I think globally as well. So this is something we brought here. And this last as well is more suited to, let's say, the Asian feet, which tends to have a bigger instep, not necessarily wide always. And this last fits that feet type.
So, I mean, you're really kind of articulating the local characteristics all over the world in the way that you're making these shoes, and we can see it right here in these models, not just in the styles, but in the lasts that you're using as well.
That's the part I really enjoy well, because as my training goes, I'm first a last maker. So it kind of takes it back to the drawing board to when I do fittings for customers, where's the problem point or where am I not able to get it right the first trunk show. The second time around, I'm able to work as a last maker, get the correct last to come back to the market, and then we start to get customers who really want to come back to us. And that's what we like.
What are some other ways that you're articulating or embracing kind of the region of Asia in your work here at Bridlen?
Well, we already have our connection to Japan for the last 15 odd years now. And we've worked with, let's say, Japanese suppliers like Shinki. Has become quite popular the last few years since we've taken them on and used them as our Cordovan supplier. But more recently, I've been working with a leather supplier in Japan to work on deer leather.
Really?
Now, deer leather is not very typical on shoes. Some shoemakers make it, but it is notoriously difficult to work because they were never tanned for making shoes. They were always tanned for making leather goods. So it has this difficult stretch in all directions. So I worked with the tannery over the last 2 years to make a leather more specific to shoemaking.
Really?
So it still has the
This is very
hand feel.
soft.
Yes, that's the idea.
Fantastic.
It has the hand feel of deer, but it won't stretch out as much as deer leather normally would.
Okay.
And this was again sort of an Asian project, as it were, because I go to Japan that often.
Yeah.
I'm able to go in every quarter, work with the tannery, tell them to kind of tweak the leather to make it this much harder. But then when it becomes too hard, you say, let's tweak that back a bit.
Okay.
So there's 2 years in the making of
Really?
going back and forth. We finally managed to get that hand feel of deer, yet a leather that's possible to work for a shoe, so it doesn't stretch out as much as deer otherwise would have.
So this is really totally unique to Bridlen.
It is. This leather and this kind of makeup that we've done with the leather particularly is unique to us.
That's fantastic.
And we've done first on a loafer because it was the obvious choice for a soft shoe, but unique enough on a boot. It's extremely comfortable. I mean,
Wow, look at this.
This one's not so much for for Singapore or India, I suppose, but nevertheless, we thought to bring it out because I thought it lends well on a boot. It's very comfortable.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've always appreciated about Bridlen is the personal passion that you bring to the craft of shoemaking. And you see that not just in your construction techniques, of course, I mean, employing traditional Goodyear welted shoe manufacturing kind of techniques, but also even in the leathers that you're bringing and the way that you're styling these shoes as unique models.
Thank you very much. I mean, I really grow with this craft and this trade because going back 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't take as much interest in the leathers. But as I started to understand shoemaking a bit better, I understood that you have to work with the raw materials and even the preparation of the raw materials for it to aid you in your shoemaking. So that's when I had to take a step back, go to the tanneries now and ask them if they would work with me to get it to what I'd like it to be. And now that's a new journey the last 2 or 3 years working with tanneries, and I'm really, really enjoying it. As much as I do shoemaking, the tannery side of things is quite new and interesting as well.
Wow. Afan, thank you so much. Of course, thank you for your support of the Super Trunk Show here in Singapore. And I hope that, of course, you continue to innovate in pursuit of quality craftsmanship and tradition.
Thanks so much. Thank you very much, Kirby.
Beyond the opportunity to visit with the various sponsors who traveled to Singapore for the Super Trunk Show, a number of masterclasses and panels were hosted throughout the day. Ash Shamsuddin of Mitre Sole, a local shoe repair boutique, led several masterclasses on how to polish your shoes using Saphir Médaille d'Or. Afan Mohamed of Bridlen Shoes walked attendees through how a shoe factory works. And Jesper Ingevaldsson moderated a panel discussion on quality Asian footwear with Alan Lee of CNES and Emil Ramana Putra of Winson Footwear. So as a true testament to just how large the draw has been here at this year's inaugural Singapore Super Trunk Show, one of our gold sponsors, Sanyo Yamacho, is joining us all the way from Japan, showcasing their incredible shoes. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your support of the Singapore Super Trunk Show.
No problem.
Thank you.
So I must ask, I mean, the Japanese, of course, have an incredible reputation for their commitment to craft. How is it that Sanyo Yamacho is reflecting Japanese craftsmanship in your shoes?
はい、私たちの靴の、一つ大きな特徴は木型シルエットがすごくコンパクトなかかとであったりとか甲の高さなんかも、結構アジア圏の人たちに合いやすいようなシルエットになっているっていうのが一つ特徴があります。
The number one is the mold. It's the wooden mold. And then like a nice curve, beautiful curve, and also the small curve on the heel, and also this edge. Is also like nicely fit to Asian people.
Okay.
あとは細かな手作業が非常に多いので、このボトムメイキングもすべて手作業でやっているので。
All hand making. For the bottoms.
Because it is still a Goodyear welted factory-made shoe, but with a lot of elements of handwork that would make this shoe to the person that didn't know, seem like it could be bespoke. Right? So is bespoke workmanship inspiring what it is that you're doing at a factory-made level?
そうです。工場なんですけど、いくつかの工場があるんですけど、だいたい5人とか10人のちっちゃな小規模の工場で、マシンはほとんどないです。だいたい手作業で作る工場なんです。
So we say a factory, but we have 4 to 5 factories in Japan, but each factory has 4 to 5 craftsmen only.
Really? Okay.
And it doesn't like see
So
like
it's almost like workshops.
Yeah, workshop,
Yeah.
and they're all handmade. There is
Yeah.
not much machine there.
Yeah. Okay. So really, I mean, we have Goodyear welting. That's the way that the outsole's attached to the upper. But really, other than that, it's effectively a handmade shoe.
Yeah, it's really so.
So can you talk a little bit about kind of this right here?
これも私たちの特徴なんですけど、特に高級ラインはフレキシブルグッドイヤーと言いまして、
This is one of our points as well. Flexible insole.
Yes, フレキシブルグッドイヤー。
Flexible good ears.
So this is how all of the Goodyear welting is done.
Yes.
Not like this.
このテープを使わないことでとっても柔らかく
So
しな
without
る。
this taping, it's very more
More
make it
flexible.
flexible.
Ah, okay. So then you're using the Goodyear welting machine to kind of sew all this
そう
together.
です。はい。
But other than that, the lasting, the finishing is done by hand.
それ以外は全部手作業でやってます。ここね、
こ
ソー
こ
イングするとき
のソーイン
は
グは、マシンソーイング。
マシンソーイング。
Yeah.
でその後は手作業で。
After that, all
All
hand.
by hand. Okay. What are some of your most iconic or classic models?
一番人気がある定番のモデルは
This is
こういった
more iconic
オックスフォード
model.
シューズです。
Yeah.
Oxford shoes.
Of course. But what is it that you're bringing to this black cap toe Oxford that is unique to Sanyo Yamacho?
そうですね。本当クラシックなオックスフォードシューズなんですけど、やっぱり日本人はこのデザインがすごく好きで、特にこういうキャップのシューズっていうのはすごく日本で愛されるデザインなので人気があります。
This one very popular in Japan, especially for these caps. So loved by many Japanese.
Yeah.
So we make it like iconic one.
Yeah. Okay. And someone that is interested in your shoes, are you shipping all over the world, or is it something that someone has to go to Japan for?
そうですね。今はちょっと日本でしか買えないブランドになって
Only
ます。
exclusive in Japan.
Really?
So when you visit Japan and then
Yeah.
purchase from us.
Okay. And which cities? I mean, all over Japan or just Tokyo?
東京の他に
そうですね
店舗はあります。
東京と大阪、名古屋に今ショップがあります。
東京、大阪、名古屋。
Okay.
We have
Okay.
shop.
And are these in department stores or do you have your own boutiques?
基本的にはデパートの中、商業施設の中に、私たちのショップが入ってます。
And then department stores.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. In Japan, again, the quality of craft that you find at every single different level. And something like this being a stock, ready-to-wear shoe, but still made by hand, having all those nuanced elements of craft at the highest level is something that whenever I think of Japanese craft, is what I think of.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
you for your support of the Super Trunk Show.
Thank you. Thank
And
you for coming.
I hope to have the opportunity to visit in Japan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm here with one of our gold sponsors, Alan Lee of CNES. Alan, thank you so much.
Thank you
Of
very
course,
much.
you've got a lot of coverage here in Singapore, of course, with Straight Establishment, distribution of Saphir.
Yeah.
But with CNES, one of the real cornerstones of the Super Trunk Show series, I think that, of course, you were the one that first invited us out to Singapore and really helped pull this together for us. But you've also been presenting in New York and in London over the last few years.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Thank you for all the support for the Super Trunk Show series. And thank you for everything that CNES is doing to really support high quality Goodyear welted footwear at an incredibly accessible level. So talk to me a little bit about some of the new models. I know every single time we speak, CNES is always working on something new. What is it that you have for us today?
So I think for the longest time, we have been talking mostly about the high quality, the higher end segment, you know, that we have shoes entirely welted by hand, using kind of like a fine calf leather exotics, you know, via the made to order program. But this time around, we thought that we wanted to focus a bit more on like the more casual kind of stuff that we're going to launch for the upcoming spring and summer. Okay. So this is like a new loafer model in very soft Italian suede, really welted. Nice little rubber sole, so it's comfortable, perfect for travel. Something that we foresee can be very popular for this year, especially with our customers here in Asia, where they prefer things that are a bit more casual and more practical.
And so what's the price point, you know, for something, you know, like this?
For our Goodyear welted models, they range anywhere from $250 to about $280 US dollars.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So in Singapore, it's about $360 to $380.
Okay.
Yeah. And then,
so that's an incredible value.
And
then what CNS is really bringing is that kind of attention to detail and that commitment to the craft that one normally wouldn't find at this price point.
Yes, correct. So I think at CNES, right, or CNES Shoemaker, we continue to strive to improve ourselves. So from time to time, we kind of update our last, the leather selection, and of course how we kind of like craft the sole. This can be seen in, especially on the leather models that we have, where the sole it's a bit more sculpted, beveling, or like in this case, like a feather back.
Okay, absolutely. And so this would be, you know, again, kind of a traditional leather kind of dress shoe, but you're doing both casual shoes and, you know, kind of the formal stuff.
Precisely, yeah. So on the other end of the spectrum, besides just the formal models, this year we're going to launch like a new short vamp penny loafer that we feel is going to be very popular for the guys now. So this particular one, it's done up in a black lizard skin. So Goodyear welted again. Nice little shape, nicely balanced. For guys that they do not want a very sharp shoe, this is really popular with our customers.
And what's incredible about this, what I've always appreciated about CNES, is that, you know, you're able to, you know, embrace and focus on kind of the nuanced elements of shoemaking that generally at this price point would never be accessible. I mean, for less than $300, you know, finding something in a lizard skin, right, you know, would be impossible. I mean, this is normally something you'd only find well above $1,000. And this is what I think is so interesting about the Asian market and the Asian shoemakers that are kind of leveraging, you know, the craft that is available here, but still doing it at a high level.
Yes, and I think that's something that distincts like kind of like majority of the Asian brands that we continue to strive to innovate. We strive to really do the best that we can to the best of our ability. So even for us as a maker and a manufacturer, we always are on the lookout for new trends, new ways to improve certain small little details or nuances like you mentioned, so that we can then better deliver a better product to our customers.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a focus on delivering better value versus delivering better margins for the brand. I mean, here, I mean, again, you see an incredible value and an incredible array, but in a way that, you know, for someone that, you know, is really not just getting into it, right? Because I think in some ways that's not fair. I mean, you've got a lot of clients that are collectors and connoisseurs of fine footwear, right? Are enjoying it, you know, for the variety and the craft just as much as for the value. Well, great. I mean, so Alan, you guys have a boutique here in Singapore, right?
We do,
So this is in some ways your home. But someone maybe that's not visiting Singapore or doesn't live here, how would they find CNES?
So they can either shop online. I think that's the most direct way, via cnes.co.co. That's our online store. And then we generally ship worldwide to most countries. So anything that, you know, the customers may want to know, they can either find us through Instagram or they can always email us.
And of course, in London at the London Super Trunk Show, and in New York or next year in Chicago at the US Super Trunk Show, CNS will be there as well.
Yes, we hope to. Most definitely looking forward to visiting London and New York again.
Alan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And you know, thank you so much for your support of the Super Trunk Show series.
Happy to do that. Thank you very much.
The Singapore Super Trunk Show is host to more than just our gold and platinum sponsors. Over 15 other companies from around the world converged upon Singapore for this incredible event, including Comps de Luca, Common Suits, Fumu, Ichigo Ichie, Idé Homme, Johnny Works, Oct Tenth, Renav Goods, Shinki Hikaku, Twin Kima G, The Copendium, The Last Shoemaker, Winson, Yearn, and Urasol. So we have people from all over Singapore attending today's Singapore Super Trunk Show. I'm here with Gracia, right?
Nice
and
to meet you.
nice to meet you. Thank you
What
so
a
much for
pleasure.
coming. And I have to ask, I mean, whenever we think of the Super Trunk Show, we think of an event that is primarily attracting men. But as a female, I've seen just the interest with which you've been walking around and the enthusiasm you've had for this event. What was it that drew you to this Singapore Super Trunk Show?
First of all, of course, it's my husband. He wants to come. But I said, of course, he can come by himself, right? And I said, I want to come here because I love craftsmanship. I love to talk to connoisseurs. And it's also because of you, because I wanted to meet you. We've been following you for a while.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
But I wanted to explore the bespoke world more in depth in Singapore and see what is if some people actually do these things for me as a woman, because I'm very interested in bespoke and in high-end pieces as well.
Yeah. What do you think the opportunities are for women in kind of traditional craft? Do you think that there's a place in a woman's wardrobe for the type of things that may traditionally be made for a male audience but can be adapted for females?
What am I wearing today?
Yeah.
What do you think of my outfit?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's beautiful. Yeah, of course.
What do you think of my blazer?
Yeah. Well, the blazer is fantastic. So I have to ask, I mean, is this something that you had made?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
And who made this?
Brunello Cucina.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So I wanted to tell you something that in my work, that's actually what we focus on.
Okay.
We focus on timeless, elegant pieces. I know that the world is going towards fashion trends, the fast pace, especially for women, with all the social media and the influencers selling these women every single day, these fashion hauls, Zara haul and other brands, right?
Yeah.
My mindset shifted 4 years ago towards timeless, elegant pieces, and I said that I was never an elegant lady. I was stylish all my life, but I was not elegant. Elegance is a different lane. And then when you start actually embodying that, the wardrobe should actually mirror that mindset. How? By actually investing in these kind of pieces. And I really push some of our clients to actually explore bespoke, and if not bespoke, some of the very famous brands, which is like Loro Piana, Brunello Cucinelli, especially if you want to invest in pieces like cashmere and tailored blazers.
You know, for a woman that is used to fashion, and really even high quality fashion, you know, speaking of yourself and kind of your personal journey, what was it that once you started gravitating more towards, you know, traditional craft that you found to be different? I mean, how did it, I mean, you know, where's the value in that? Is it, and how you feel wearing it? Is it in the longevity? I mean, what was it that drew you in?
I started, okay, so this is a personal story and I said it before. After motherhood, I lost my identity for 2-3 years, and then when I wasn't looking at myself for 2 years in the mirror. So, and any woman who's watching will relate to this. Actually, you need to rebuild the identity. And you need to you cannot be the woman you were before, and also you need to match your new role as a mom. I didn't see myself in, I know it's just personal, I didn't see myself in colorful pieces anymore with prints, crop tops, and my husband is elegant. And I was always looking at him, although I worked in luxury brands, and this is all about this, but also not all luxury is elegant and not all luxury is quiet, right? Before starting with this elegance journey, I started with my elegant body. I started eating well, going to the gym, and then the wardrobe followed. Okay, so I was still buying fast fashion. I was like, something in me is not liking it anymore. Why do I have to, why I'm not liking the threads coming out? Why after one wash this changed completely? So I started outgrowing it and I didn't know why. So I started to dig deep into the elegance world and what are the brands that are high quality, which is, some are affordable, some are luxury, which pieces to invest in. And then I started to build slowly my wardrobe. And suddenly when you see that I have fewer pieces, but everything goes together and everything is so high quality, and I started to learn how to take care of them, everything changed.
So for someone that, you know, a woman that's interested in kind of exploring this world of elegance, of craftsmanship, you know, based off your journey, where is it that you would recommend maybe they begin?
I always recommend starting with one well-tailored blazer.
Okay. So
And
like the
then
one that you're wearing today.
when you see how it fits on your own shoulders, your waist, you feel different. Then I think that's just start.
Yeah.
Not even a dress. I feel it's a blazer.
Yeah.
And I invest in a lot of blazers. And for me, that's how I feel powerful.
Yeah. So of all of the vendors here, I mean, is there anyone that you've been interested in or
Common suits.
Okay. And
Yes.
what was it that
We had a lovely conversation, and I know that I love Loro Piana, and he's also using the Loro Piana fabrics. I know a lot of tailors do.
Yeah.
What drew me to him is he is also, not a lot of tailors here in Singapore also want to do for women as well. So he does for women. And the conversation was all about elegance, and this is my world. And actually it's the mindset and his craftsmanship and how he really understood the woman body and why is it difficult to actually tailor for women.
Yeah.
If a tailor or a founder of a company, a tailoring company understands this, that tells me that I should tailor my suits with him.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, Gracia, thank you so much for coming to the Singapore
pleasure,
Super
Kirby.
Trunk Show. And you're looking as incredible and as elegant
Thank
as
you
I
so
can
much.
imagine.
And you
so
too as well.
thank you for supporting quality craftsmanship and tradition. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Gracia,
It's a
thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you. So I'm here with my favorite organizers in the world, of course, Justin, Fitzpatrick, and Jesper, Ingevaldsson.
Always a pleasure.
And I have to say, here we are in Singapore, for something that really began all the way back in Stockholm. Who would have imagined that, all these years later, that we would have added a third location, now spanning the entire globe, and that the event would have been such a resounding success it has been.
It's been an awesome day, and lots of people are happy, turnout has been great, and it's an amazing day.
I mean, I think in many ways, London, of course, is always going to be our flagship event. We have the World Championship of Shoemaking, the World Championship of Shoe Shining, and some of the great kind of heritage brands from around the world showcasing. But Singapore, I must say, the attendance, the number of exhibitors that we've had, in some ways has been amongst the best of all of our shows.
It's definitely been buzzing, And the incorporation of tailors really worked out well for us, which is a good sight to see that we can start bringing in other parts of the industry and people actually like it.
Justin, what have you been most surprised by? Coming into this, I think none of us really knew what to expect. What stuck out to you?
I was surprised by the attendance. We had a little bit of a scare in the beginning, and then it just kind of blew us away. And it feels like
late start here in Singapore.
Yeah, late start. But since 11:30, it's pretty much been all systems go the entire time, and people seem to be really pleased, and they're grateful and surprised that we're here, which is
But what is it that you think is unique to this region, or just at this point in time, that has had these brands so well received here in Singapore and Southeast Asia?
I think it's interesting to see that sort of we brought a lot of Asian brands to Europe and the US, and it's been a good interest of that. But now you see that also the Asians, they really enjoy and admire their own brands, so to speak. So that's an appreciation that I don't think you saw much of maybe even 5 years ago. So it's changing up. They understand what they have here. Of course, we have also exhibitors from other parts of the world, but it's a lot of Asian brands, and we see that the Asian people, they really enjoy these brands. Regional ones.
I think so, And one of the other things I'm struck by is it's easy for us to take for granted accessibility. But Singapore is really being a regional capital, right? A lot of the people that are either here in Singapore or flying in from other countries kind of around Singapore, don't have the same level of access, right? And so having everyone at one Super Trunk show that they can make that trip, justifiable. Coming in and seeing a bunch of different people, discovering some new brands is really what makes the Super Trunk Show special.
Yeah, that's what you hear from a lot of visitors, that it's amazing to have all in one place like this.
Yeah, and there's always something to discover.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we've got some exciting, plans, of course, coming up in 2026. I mean, of course, we have London, the Super Trunk Show, World Championship of Shoemaking and World Championship of Shoe Shine. It's a mouthful.
And shoe patina.
And shoe patina. I can't believe I left that out. But we've, just, I guess, announced the competition shoe for this year's World Championship of Shoemaking.
Yeah, now it's a Chelsea boot, which will be really exciting to see what brands come up with.
Yeah, how you can make that different. Like,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
not too many pieces in it that you can make unique with.
We left it quite open because it's such a distinctive model in itself.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see how people interpret it and make their own versions of a Chelsea.
Yeah, because our last shoe was the Balmoral boot, or the Balmoral
The last boot that we had, exactly.
Yeah. And
So
so
we
here we
only
are.
done one boot before, and that was the Balmoral.
Yeah. Okay. And the date for that, of course, being in London.
Yeah, May 9th,
May 9th.
Saturday, May 9th. So yeah, it's going to be a great day for sure.
And then this year in the United States, we also have a very exciting announcement about that Super Trunk Show. Justin?
Yeah, well, if all goes well, we're going to be partnering up with Stitch Down, who has a successful event of their own focusing on boots, and we're going to join him and bring the Super Trunk Show to that, and I think it's going to become an amazing mega event.
Yeah. So instead of being in New York, it'll be in Chicago.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Chicago.
And it's going to be a huge venue with so much good craftsmanship.
Yeah.
That's going to be amazing.
And so,
gonna be something to see.
with the Stitch Down, right, being primarily focused on workwear and boots, and then the Super Trunk Show being classic menswear and dress shoes, will really cover, really kind of the
All
full
bases.
spectrum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be something for everyone.
Yeah. You have the traditional craftsmanship as a base, and then you have really broad spectrum from that.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
I think so. I mean, a lot to look forward to this year. And, again, every year I think that the interest in craft and classic menswear only continues to get stronger. So
Definitely.
thank you for all your work. This has been fantastic. I think it's exceeded all of our expectations. And, to everyone watching, make sure you mark on your calendars. We don't have the dates yet, but I can certainly be certain that we'll be back here in Singapore next year in 2027.
100%.
Justin.
Thank you, as always.
Jesper.
Cheers.
Great event, and there we go.
All right.
So there we have it, the 2026 inaugural Singapore Super Trunk Show. It couldn't have been a greater success, with over 20 vendors from around the entire region and over 1,000 people joining us. We're certainly going to be back next year. So I'm Kirby Allison, exploring the world of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. We'll see you in London in May and back here in January.